What is up? It is Andy here on a Thursday. The Thursday before the final Thursday, before we go on a little Olympic break, a little quick hiatus before we return for the final stretch of the season and into the playoffs. And I welcome it, of course. You guys know I welcome it. I want as few games as possible because that's how this season has gone for me. If I say take the elevator down to the first floor, we just going right up to the penthouse. If I say, hey, meeting at the penthouse, the freight elevator only goes down to the cellar. It goes to mankind's boiler room because that's what kind of season it's been. Whether we want to talk about T.Teravainen, great trickle-down snakeonomics play. I say great point prop at plus 130, but you know what? He's the kind of guy, he's playing with a shooter in Bedard. He always looks to shoot first. What happens? Gets the point, scores from Bedard. Then yesterday, you had old Frankie Slices telling you to take Alexis Lafreniere. What happens? Panarin gets deactivated before the game, rendering Lafreniere back to the bum that he always was. It's that kind of season for me, but still in the midst of all of that, you would think the trickle-down snakeonomics plays and the line combos not having the year that they did last year would mean that maybe it's not the best way to go. Well, I'm sure you've noticed as you went to put in your own bets, but yet another round of neutering has occurred. We've talked about this now. How many rounds? Like, you just think there's no way they can do it again. We had DraftKings round 1 last year, followed by DraftKings round 2 last year. Then in the playoffs, DraftKings round 3 of neutering. Then we had the introduction into BetMGM, the great odds. They waxed those. We had the Bet365 semi-waxing last year. Well, I'm sure you've noticed Bet365 has waxed the odds yet again. And if they keep waxing the odds on something, what does that tell you? Oh, they must be getting waxed so much in the first place that they have to neuter these odds. So while I've brought up a bunch that haven't panned out, it's these types of bets that have allowed people to win consistently enough in the NHL. I haven't done my part bringing those bets to your front doorstep, but don't kid yourself. People have still been hitting on them. You want to talk about something, for example? How about the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? They have a couple of makeshift lines. They found some lines that allowed them to have some continued success. And their third line, since Malkin has returned, has been Justin Brazeau, Ben Kindle, Anthony Mantha. You took that entire line for a point on Bet365. In the last game, which hit, plus 700. Game before that, plus 850. Game before that, plus 700. I'm sure you guys have seen some of the prices that I've brought to you. Well, you want to know what it is for this game? Plus 400. Same line, same odds north of plus 700, and now reduced by about 40%. So you want to know the proper way to bet? The thing that's getting reduced by that much. That's the thing that we are trying to extract every last dollar out of until it's inevitably gone. Have I done my part bringing the right ones to your doorstep? No, we're getting screwed like we did the other day where I said, yeah, Teravainen for the assist because he's a pass-first guy. It's been lemony snickets, a season of unfortunate events. But with that said, we will continue into this Thursday slate, a rather big slate, and we can even talk about those Pittsburgh Penguins and that line that didn't produce a lot of value for this game like it did in the previous couple of games, because there is someone who does present a value, because Brian Rust got suspended 3 games, I believe. So he's going to be out of the lineup, off the top line, obviously, and then off the top power play, which leaves a slot open. And who's getting the first crack at that slot? Y.Chinakhov, who recently they acquired from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Chinakhov, who actually has points in a couple of straight games. I think that Malkin line also was up there in the crazy prices. So now we have Chinakhov moving up to the top power play, and that presents a great opportunity, especially when we're looking at a plus 140 here for Chinakhov at home against the Chicago Blackhawks. And then it makes it very easy to stack a second line top power play correlated duo, him and Evgeny Malkin. So I will take Chinakhov for the assist and Malkin for the point. I think that's how we can squeeze the most out of that duo. That will bring you to a plus 400. I still think that sounds pretty juicy for a couple of Penguins who play together at even strength and now are also going to be on the top power play. So that's one side of the game. While I idiotically told you to take that Teravainen assist, look what one game back with Bedard in the lineup has done to the point. From plus 130, if you took the point, then it hit. Now look, it's down to plus 105. But plus 105, in my opinion, is still good enough to take, because one of these games, Connor Bedard is going to absolutely explode. And forgive me if I'm not too scared of Stuart Skinner and the Pittsburgh Penguins defense. So I will go right back to T.Teravainen, and maybe out of stubbornness, I want to do an assist. So as I told you last time when I was talking about the Vancouver players, the conservative play would be him and Bedard for a point. You're just taking Teravainen plus 105. That would be a play. You want to be a little bit greedier? Okay, now you add Bedard for a point. Want to be a little bit greedier than that? Okay, let's go back to Teravainen for the assist, 2 points for Bedard. But I do think Teravainen is, if he plays with Bedard long enough and he continues to get the points, this will start heading into the minus, as it always does for these types of players. And I just mentioned some of those players who we had last video. I talked about the Vancouver Canucks, how they were on this homestand. It's not like they're doing a ton of winning, but they are doing more scoring than they had previously. They were amongst the both teams to score 2+ last game. They can be used again in that capacity here. But what I'm looking at now, obviously when I film these in the middle of the night, something can change during the day. And that thing that changed during the day was Evander Kane, who I told you was a part of that line. He got bumped all the way down to the 4th line in favor of L.Karlsson, which is so much better than Kane because he was already seeing top power play time. And we have patient even after their last game that he is remaining on the top power play in practice. So if you're telling me he's playing with DeBrusk and Pettersson and he's on the top power play, then that is how we do it. L.Karlsson for a point at home in a game that's projected to have, that's 6.5. If you took both teams to score 2+ in this game, it's like minus 260. So they are projecting some goals in this home game for the Vancouver Canucks. So you give me Karlsson and then the entire line. This line's still giving you a solid price north of plus 400. So we will take that full Canucks top line at home on Thursday night. And then in Buffalo, I've been stuck these last couple of games with the LA Kings because they continually have 3 good values, and I really don't know which one to present to you. And all 3 of these values, all 3 of them are on the top power play, and they kind of are coming through pretty consistently. The first one, and the one I think I'm going to go with, is Corey Perry. Although that's the one that excites me the least, because it's like, man, am I trusting Corey Perry? But he's playing with Kempe and Laferriere on the top line. He's on the top power play. He has points in 5 straight, has come through with Kempe a few in a row. The entire line came through in the last game against Detroit. So while, I back old quarterbacks, I may as well back old hockey players as well. So Corey Perry on the road against Buffalo, who is continuing to win. But as you saw, you can score on Buffalo. That's never the biggest issue with them. Their offense is continuing to click, which is great because it's pushing other teams to continue to go forward and have to score. And LA is actually, they're scoring a little more than normal. Couple of wins, couple of overtime games. They're playing all right, and the offense is doing all right. So I'm looking for that to continue. And if you want to go with the other 2 options, the second option would be Andrei Kuzmenko. He's also on the top power play. He's playing at 5-on-5 with Kevin Fiala, so a lot of opportunity there. I think he's got points in 2 of his last 3, and he's easy to pair with Fiala. But then the one that I was most excited about, I feel like, just like everything else, I'm picking the wrong one on the wrong night. It's just been that kind of season for me. But Brandt Clarke operating the top power play. The power play came through in the last game, and with him, you can use any of those guys. Like if you want to take him for an assist, you could use any of those guys I just named. You can use Perry. You can use Kuzmenko for a point and a Brandt Clarke assist. You can use Kempe for 2 and a Brandt Clarke assist. The good thing about the defenseman, it's a little more hairy in terms of coming through with a point, but the stacking opportunities are very easy, and I'll whisper to you, with all the odds neuterings that have gone on with all the sports books, one of the workarounds is using a defenseman. I'll just leave it at that. One of the ways to get that price all the way back up is by using a defenseman. For example, if you were to take Kuzmenko for 2 points and Fiala for an assist versus Kuzmenko for 2 points and Brand Clark for an assist. Let's just say Fiala and Brand Clark had the same exact price assist. The Brand Clark assist is going to multiply that parlay by a lot more than the Fiala assist because, they're learning. But, I was just saying, we're like a disease, or at least I am. I'm like a disease. As they try to, patch up and heal everything, I have a new mutation to try to ruin that. So what I try to do is use defensemen a little bit more for those recently. So I got a couple of Kings plays there. And then lastly, what I'll just kind of leave you with, I'm just going to go with one of those, both teams to score 2+. Let's go to Edmonton, where they're scoring a bunch right now, and San Jose's been reliable on the road. Both of those teams to score 2+. And then the over 2.5 goals for the Boston Bruins, who are facing the Philadelphia Flyers, second half of back-to-backs, which means you're going to get Ayerson, who's been playing awful. You have a Bruins team who's winning consistently on this homestand. Top line has been killing it. Well, it's not a homestand. They played one game at home, and then they had to win it in overtime. But I think they'll be in a good position to score against a team who hasn't been able to keep pucks out of their net. You do both of those, that will bring you into the plus money, and I do kind of like the over 3.5 team total there for the Boston Bruins. And that is what I have for you on a busy Thursday. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you are subscribed here to the YouTube channel if you're enjoying these tidbits of information about neutering, like Bob Barker would tell you at the end. I told you about neutering, but not for your pets, for your parlays. So if you want to get more of that great information, just like the video, comment, click the notifications, make sure you're subscribed here. I know it's a lot of work. Get the notebook out. And then also, if you really are enjoying, click the hype button so we'll show this video to more people. And you want to be a minority owner here, you want to sponsor the show, you want to help me in case, I'm out there, I'm on my ass and you're the last couple of people throwing me a couple of shekels, you can do that over on the Patreon. Patreon's also where you can get the line combos. There's chat rooms with other sniffers who can fill in the blanks when I'm not doing them well. So we hope to see you over there. If not, I will see you for the next round of NHL Sniffs.